Well, good morning, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to Coffee Chat. I can't find our intro here, but that's okay. We'll just jump right into it. I've got my coffee. I am staying at the beach right
My coffee from the horse.
Oh, is that the one I got you?
Nope, nope. I bought you that one and Jennifer and you when we did that workshop together.
Yeah, I have it. I have that here in, well, it's in storage, but um, anyways, I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful week. I'm just switching the audience here so people can see this, and we're ready to go. Let's put the laptop down. StreamYard likes to make it to where I can't. It goes private where nobody can view the video unless I jump on and make it public.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's either StreamYard or Facebook. Either one. It doesn't really matter.
Whatever it is. Well, it's been an interesting week. Very interesting. It's been cold here.
Well,
It is now 68 degrees. This morning it was 50.
I'll take some cold. It's not been cold here.
Well, it is cool here, but there's something out there because I went outside with baby this morning and I started sneezing and it's so clear you would never think there would be anything out there, but it's like that. So yeah, a lot of things are happening. You can feel it. You can feel it in the air that things are happening. So yeah, I got up early this morning. I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning and then I went back to bed, but I never really got to go to bed. Baby kept bothering me and laying on top of me and wanting to go out. And I thought, oh my God, he's a mess.
Well, Christy has I can't remember what they call it. It's a Mancoon.
Oh yeah.
And his name is Keeks.
And yeah.
He's adorable, but he is, every time you open up a door, he's like, excuse me, I'm coming out that door. I'm like, no, you're not, because the street is right there.
Yeah, he's a big cat, like baby.
He is
a big cat, like baby.
He's pretty good size. He's probably bigger than baby.
Probably because usually they're bigger than baby. Baby's 22 pounds, so I can't imagine what they are because they can be stretched out all the way.
Oh yeah, he was the runt of his litter though, so he's not as big as a lot of them are. But counterpart here is Atlas, and he's a Burmese a dog, and he's at least 100 pounds. And we were walking this morning, and he was like, well, I want to go that way. I'm like, but there's construction that way, buddy. I mean, like we can't even get past the sidewalk. He's like, but I want to go that way.
I know. Baby wants to go out, but he also wants to do his own thing. But then he doesn't want to do his own thing because you never know what he really wants. It's the craziest cat I've ever seen. So I just finally said, you're not going out. So he's out there by the front door waiting for my bookkeeper, Melissa, to come in after we get off of this. She always comes in she usually comes in at 10, but since we have every Friday, she comes in on the Fridays. So she said, I'll be there at 10:05.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I have to laugh because the other day when we were playing sounds for our soul group, and he was like, oh no, stop that.
Oh, he was awful. He was all over me trying to fight me in the back. I mean, I've never seen him act like that ever. He's usually very calm with all of us, when we're just kind of meditating, and he didn't like that at all. So I don't know what that was all about, but he certainly didn't like it. You said and watched it just like everybody else was watching it.
That was
the world.
Yeah, I was laughing at him. He was a trip. So
he was very hard to work with the other day. And I've been doing a lot of frequencies, a lot of them. That is amazing. It is amazing work when you really understand how frequencies do change. And I like the ones you were sending us that day. They were good. Send me those.
Yeah, I will. Can we talk about that a little bit, like sounds and frequency? Because I was in a pretty deep meditation last night. I go into my I just sit in my thoughts, and so an idea is for me to try to focus a thought or an intention for, like we've talked about, 30 seconds, 35 seconds, 36 seconds. And so Um, but what I do is like there is always another thought that pops up that
Mm-hmm.
tries to distract you, and I'm like, no. And
Mm-hmm.
I literally talk to the thought. You can wait 36 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
and or it'll or doubt that comes in, worry that comes in, and I'm like, no, we don't have time for that. We already know we're already taken care of, and I sit there and I coach myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did a series of videos last night, kind of explaining this, and 10 modules, and I wanted to. It's really it's the basically the 25 years of work I've done on myself, and looking at my own thoughts and things that you and I have worked on, and really people get into this idea of positive thoughts, and I'm not going to say that those aren't great, but it's more of a I know that I deserve thought. And so um one of the things I've been looking at recently is as I because I went through that whole part of the year where I was just constantly stressed, constantly worried. Well, honestly, since August of last year. So now I'm here a year later, and I got to practice all this for a year and practice what I preach, basically.
Yeah.
Because what I will tell everybody is that we go through layers. So I had mastered this frequency of getting good jobs, good paying jobs that increased my lifestyle. But I was bored. And like you said last year, we were both bored. And
Mm-hmm.
so energy of the universe brings us into this new level. So our intention was boredom, and it was time for us to go to another level of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we started doing that, then of course it takes you into an area, just like when you go to the gym and you stretch your muscles and all that kind of stuff and get stronger. And so I've noticed that the fear will come in or the doubt will come in, and that's where you start practicing. You start saying, no, that's not the way we live anymore. Our intention was this, in divine timing, divine order, divine plan, make it easy. And so I think what people don't really fully understand is that they have to coach themselves.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you are the coach. Kelly, the one that the one that I've told you about, she did get the job.
Yay!
But she had to look at that and she said, you were right. Because she was, that morning she called me and I called you and I said, you need to really pray. She was so out of line, out of her whole beingness because she was, I can't take it. I cannot do this anymore. If I don't get a job, she was going on. I can't even get a job like I want to do and everything. And I said, yes, you can. I said, why are you acting this way? And I mean, I just really, she said, you just focused me. And within 24 hours, she had a job, what she wanted. She was out of her element of consciousness that's throwing everything out. And it was coming back and hitting her hard. And I said, you got to get still. You got to clear everything out, empty your mind and stop thinking the way you're thinking. I said, your thinking is incorrect. And she said she settled down and got still. And she called me this morning and said, I want to thank you for all. And I said, I didn't do anything. I said, you had to say yes. You had to change it. I didn't do it. All I did was give you insight.
Yeah.
But she still wants to say, thank you, thank you. I said, well, I appreciate that, but you better thank yourself for what you did. You said yes to yourself. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and it's one of the things like because my new level of understanding was freedom. And I've been saying that honestly since in the back of my mind since about 2006. And I remember going into job interviews back in those days because it was about when you met me, and I'd been unemployed for 2 years basically. And I would get like these jobs, and they would like be like 3 month contracts, and they wouldn't last. And I would be out there doing readings and teaching psychic development classes, and they would somehow do well for a while, and then they wouldn't do well. And, but I was in this constantly in this panic of how do you how am I going to support myself? And back in those days, Jenny, I had a $200 car payment, and I only had an electric bill of $250 I had to pay. I had no other bills. That was it. So $450. Well, car insurance, so which was $60 a month.
Right.
So $500 in bills a month, and I was constantly in a panic. And so I started laughing about that because the apartment I lived in Largo, that was, a lot more bills, and I always had enough. And so, I take it back. There was times where there was always something that happened that came in. But I've also found that my mind goes into, and I'm sure that everybody else does this too. Well, I jokingly say I'm a hustler, when it comes to things. I'll get out there and I'll start working and I'll do graphic design work. I'll do this, and, I'll go out and speak and do whatever it takes to make it. But what ends up happening is when my mind automatically starts going into, well, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, then it blocks the flow of energy.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just say, no, the intention is freedom. And then my order to the universe is that I want to live like this with freedom, in divine timing, in divine order, divine plan, make it easy.
Right.
And so, and then I stopped worrying. I started getting to the point where I stopped worrying about how that's going to unfold.
Yes. You can't figure that out.
Because it could be whatever. It doesn't really matter. It could be that somebody, you've watched me have this happen in my life. Somebody could call me up and say, hey, can you come and be a graphic designer for us, or this and that for whatever? I've gone and watched people's dogs and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, I slept on people's couches.
Huh?
I slept on people's couches when I didn't have this house because it was being fixed.
Yeah, because it really comes down to freedom. And there's certain circumstances I'm not really keen on. I don't like. I like to live in certain conditions and stuff like that, and that kind of stuff. But ultimately, when it comes down to divine plan, there may be something I need to do there, and
Right.
and so it's not that big a deal. And if I'm in flow with it, these are hard lessons, and this is why people have to go through their shadow work, because if they don't go through their shadow work.
I agree. I think the shadow work is the best work you can do because you have to look at yourself, really what you think, what you feel. I agree. A lot of people don't like to do shadow work. I was doing shadow work 5 or 6 years way before I ever did the healing work, because shadow work is healing yourself first, looking at your darkness as much as your light. So yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I look back at that 27 years ago. I just knew that the universe of God was going to take care of me. That's what I was told. And that's what I was told. That's why I stayed in it for 5 years, playing, not playing in it, but really understanding it. But I still didn't truly understand it until recently, how it really, really works. It's a mindset. It is. It's a state of mind. And if you have a state of mind and you can really focus that state of mind to that higher consciousness, there's nothing you can't do. And that's what people don't understand, because they're looking at the spirit. The spirit is within. And this is where people don't understand. There is this, it's right there in your Bible. The kingdom of God lies within you. It's all in a state of mind. And that's the first thing I ever heard when I first woke up in 1998. That was the last thing that was coming through my mind. It's all a state of mind. I did not understand what that meant until now. And I've been doing it for 27 years. I've been practicing it, just didn't know what it was called. So, yeah. And if you can hold peace, really be still and peaceful within, there's nothing you can't create within.
Yeah,
it's deep.
It comes down to things. I jumped on a little bit later today for a couple of reasons, because usually we jump on a few minutes before the
right.
Jump on. Well, it's because I couldn't find my phone. I literally went down to the coffee shop to get coffee, and it was in my hand when I left the coffee shop, and I'm like, where the hell is it? And I'm like sitting here going, and finally I just sit down here and I'm like, all right, it's got to be somewhere. And I'd already been out to the car and looked, and finally I went. I heard one more time, go out to the car. It was literally like 8 minutes before we're gonna start. Mm-hmm. So I'd already messaged you the link and said I'll be on in a few minutes. And so I walked downstairs, and I heard sit in the car. I'm like, so I sit down in the car, and I look over, and and I heard, "Move the papers on the seat."
See?
And it was right there. And so these are the things. It wasn't like a voice; it was like a feeling.
I
So
know. I know.
let me address that. And so then I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy." And so I come upstairs, and because I had wanted to do the phone, because not laptops don't always give the best um, picture quality on StreamYard. So I wanted to be able to do that, and I wanted to be able to show the background with the beach and behind me. And so it's so I was just trying to do that instead of a virtual background. And so it's so funny. And then I could jump on, and I have my laptop here with me, and then the sound was like literally. Usually I'll run with my computer the background and everything if anybody makes any comments and stuff like that. And I couldn't because it kept on feeding back on the microphone, and it was really awful. And so then we finally jumped, and then I couldn't see you. It was so funny. But when I just got calm, I was just like, just listen to, because I mean your mind starts to go into this manic moment or whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. It is. It's panic or manic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
You
so
know you're on a time zone, time thing. Oh yeah, heck yeah. How many times?
yeah.
I get it.
By
You
the
know
way,
what I've learned about a lot of that though is I was looking for my keys and I went right by them several times because I always thought my keys were supposed to be in my basket because I have a little basket and I forgot. I laid them on my coffee table and went back 3 or 4 different times and they were sitting right there, but I couldn't see them because I was still trying to figure it out in the basket. They would be there. That's what people don't understand. If they don't disappear, you just move them out because you think they should be somewhere else.
yeah.
It is really amazing how the mind will trick you, but you're not being tricked. You're just not paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. I
Well,
like that though. That's a nice thing in the back.
can you hear the waves?
I can hear it. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm ready to come in and just be by the water.
Well, I know you would love it here. So it's I but I can't wait until I get to Europe and then call you up and say, "Hey, you want to come and hang out in the Mediterranean with me?"
Yeah, and let's swim there. Oh, I love the Mediterranean. That is nice. It's a
Yeah.
nice
Have you
water.
been to Monaco?
Huh?
I've always wanted to go to Monaco.
I would like to see that too.
Yeah. So
I'd like though for you and I to go because we're coming in to speak. I think that's very powerful.
that or Egypt.
Oh my God, yes.
And I have a friend that has a Lebanese restaurant in Cairo now, right on the Nile River.
Oh wow. I would love that.
Yeah. So it's
You've
there's
met a lot of people all over the world, haven't you?
I do, and it's because I love meeting people and talking to people and getting to know them and their cultures, and that's always been my favorite. It's probably one of the reasons why I like speaking, because then I get to meet people.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a lot out there. I mean, when people, one of the things that I want to just say to everybody is you don't have to stick in the rut. I mean, the rut, there really is true that you can live your life and be happy
Hmm.
and do something that makes you feel fulfilled. But what happens is that, and countless times, and I've heard so many stories, not just from Jenny, but other people, that they took that step. They took that step into whatever change it was. Maybe it was to be a mom or a dad, or didn't really matter. It was, or a change in their career, or a change, they wanted to change their life and their health and stuff like that. It takes a leap of faith into
It
yourself
does.
to do it. And even over the past 3 months, we're getting close to 4 months now being in the gym. It's I was never going to be that guy that lays on the floor and does that just didn't appeal to me. And like the work that you do and stuff like that, laying on the floor, I mean, just didn't do it for me. And I would try, and I was just like, well. So, but when I went to the gym, I get a charge out of being there, and as I do those weights and feel them, I can feel the energy in the blocks in the body. And so I do, like when I do abs, I can actually feel in the stomach where the core is still still weak. And when I was in meditation last night, they were showing me, the tree of life. They've got the branches up here that reach up into the heavens, and then you've got the roots that are rooted down to the earth, and then you got the trunk that's the core. Mm-hmm. And so the trunk and all three have to be, strong in order, when the wind blows, the tree is strong to bring it back, and the grounding and the roots keep you rooted so they don't get ripped up and taken down into a sense of being not in balance with yourself. And then the tree, the branches bring in the light and the water, mm-hmm. and life. And so it's as I'm doing these exercises, I'm sitting here down inside of myself, and I'm like, whoa, there's where something could happen, and that could knock me out. And it's not just about the muscles, it's about the emotions, because as you start to feel something or do something that makes you feel heavy inside, then it kind of starts to push, it's a weak area in you where that energy is sitting. Mm-hmm. So I've been feeling that in the gym, and like, even it's kind of funny though, because now I like to touch, I sit there and I touch my muscles and kind of go through it, because now you can start feeling the strength in the body. Mm-hmm. It's not just about the working out part. It's about the energy that's in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know what I do a lot of when I'm driving, I'm doing my inner work.
Yeah.
Because I can move it. And I saw bars of energy that I didn't even realize it existed. And and it was stiff. I've been hurt. I've been in pain doing this again. And I realized I hadn't been really doing my inner muscles and everything. So I've been really going in and moving the body again. And it hurts at the beginning. It hurts. It's just like you're doing inner work. You are sitting on the gym, but because they asked me the other day, how come I was so toned? My body is toned, even though I haven't been at a gym, but I've got an inside gym that I work in, and I use that to constrict and push out. It's deep work.
What she's doing, guys, is she's bringing in Holy Spirit as her strength.
Yes.
So, and then she stretches out the whatever is going on that's negative, or whatever you want to call it, a block or taking away her strength. And she'll get on the floor and stretch.
Well, if I hadn't have done that when I had my stroke, that's when Grace was there. This is a friend that sit and watched me for 2.5 hours, stand in my kitchen, moving the energy back in, because I kept hearing, then like the trees. And and then finally I just got up and I looked at her and I said, I'm going to go get in my body. And I laid down and I put myself back in my body. And she said, I saw you walk out of your body into that window, and then you came back. This one, I don't think people understand. Spirit is very much alive. It's very much alive. And you can work with it on a higher level, but it really did. If it hadn't been for my ability to do what I did, I would never gotten through my stroke. And it took me 9 months to get through that stroke. Yeah. That was a lot of work, and I stayed in my body and worked inside. And people still can't believe that I had 2 strokes already. You can't tell. Every once in a while, when I'm tired, you can tell.
Oh yeah.
But it's pretty amazing. Because the other day I was thinking, God, that is pretty amazing that I've had 2 major strokes and then 2 heart attacks. Amazing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell people to do that unless they really go in deep. This is deep work. I've been working with this for 27 years. And I just understood it. Well, first of all, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to, cross over or die. And that's why I think I did as well, especially when that last heart attack, I was sitting right there. I wasn't afraid. And the nurses would come in and they'd say, if I didn't see that machine going off, I would know, because I had to sit in that ER in my hometown for 5 hours before they could get me a room in Lexington. So I sat there and they watched me do the inner work. And they'd say, you're having a heart attack. They were monitoring me and making sure, but I wasn't having. But those nurses know me pretty well over there, because I don't hesitate. anymore. I go right in and I'll say, I need, EKG and I need blood work right now because I'm just checking myself. And you've got to. We were talking about doctors the other day. Go to a doctor, get diagnosed what they're saying, then you can go in and start working with yourself. I mean, because that doesn't always mean that I'm going to follow through in your protocol. I follow my protocol. That's why there's some doctors just, you're 73 years old, you should be doing this. No, I don't have to do anything. I can do whatever I want to do. I trust myself. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I had a nurse the other day that you could tell she was a little annoyed that I won't take the statin. And I wasn't even seeing her for that.
No.
I was like,
they're pushing statins big time.
I'm like, I'm just not going to take it.
No. I think when I was the maddest I've ever been is when there was a young cardiologist. I said, because I've had a heart attack since I was 46 years old, and I would not take a statin. I stopped doing it a long time ago. And he turned around very nastily and said, well, where'd you get that information on YouTube? And I wanted to come up that table and just choke him because no, I did the research on statins. Very clearly what I did. It wasn't about a YouTube. It was about researching to find out what the real truth was in it. And I don't think we're being told the whole truth. I don't think doctors are being told the whole truth.
Well, I'll tell you what, cardiologist I saw in July or June, he was a jerk too. He walked in and he just asked me a few questions. He goes, well, here's the deal. You're obese. You're a diabetic and and even his resident said he's not a diabetic. Yes, he is. His A1C is 7.1. And she said, okay. And he said, and then you have hypertension. So you need to really start changing your life. I was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, as soon as I got out of the hospital, I called friends that were doctors and nurse practitioners, and they all were like, that's not, I mean, it's something you need to take care of, but it's not, wow, the way he presented that was a little.
They're a little different, Now, what I've received is now in the 1998, they were very verbal about me not taking them. In 1998, after that first heart attack, I had 9 pills. And I'd had a miraculous healing. And I cried every time I had to take them. And finally, one day I couldn't take them anymore after 3 or 4 weeks. I couldn't. It just wouldn't come in. They kept I would vomit them or I'd push them out of them. So I just took it out, all of it. And they got mad about it. Now, today, they don't say much because they're so programmed to get that survey, to get a good check, make sure they did well, excellent. These surveys, I've never seen so many surveys for so many doctors. And now I did not do well with the cardiologist because all he did was he saw it in his computer and he didn't listen to anything I said. He was just, and he's not looking at me. He was not real. And I walked out of his office.
Well, and that's because it's called an NPS score. And we started doing that kind of stuff in businesses because people had this attitude, customer service representatives and managers and executives and doctors and attorneys, that people got this attitude like, they didn't really care about the client or the customer or the patient. And
right. That's what it felt like.
So then we started doing that, and then Yelp came out and Google reviews came out. And then the consumer has gotten to the point where they won't even do anything without a review. But I hate to break it to them. We can drive and change reviews. Like we can't change the actual reviews, but we did this at 1-800-ACCOUNTANT because our boss basically told all the employees when they got home that night to go do a 5-star review to drive our ratings up. And so there's fake reviews out there.
Yeah, so you don't even know if they're really good people or not because they're hiring people to make it look like they are good.
Yeah.
So everything is really not always upfront in truth.
Yeah, you can.
That bothers me.
But there's a lot of things happening, everybody. If anybody's interested, I'm doing an event this weekend called Beyond the Veil. It's beyond-theveil.org. It's also on my Facebook. Barbara Hand Clow is our keynote speaker. And also, Ginny and I think our next Soulful group, if you would like to come, is next week from this Saturday.
Yeah.
And you can check that out at mydivineinheritance.org.
Yes.
So, but everybody have an amazing weekend, and we will see you next week.
Yeah. And be in a state of mind that you want to be.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Much love.
Bye.